for this. So welcome to today's session. We're going to discuss in terms of what type of trader you're going to be in terms of your personality profile. It has got nothing to do whether you're the type of person who is crazy or whatnot. It's just simple. You're going to answer certain questions, and we're going to go through and distinguish them based on 3 different type of categories. Whether if you're a type of person who is conscientious, person who is neurotic, or a person who is risk taker or risk averse. All right, and please note that the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Licensed Super Trade Education provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree the hypothetical results obtained through the demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. And just read me here for 1 second, please, Jeffrey. Let me see. No. Okay. So the agenda is definitely where we're going to go through the type of trader you're going to be. So there are going to be 2 statements here. And please choose a statement that best describes you. So let's say for the first one, question 1A, I tend to be meticulous and get each aspect of a job done as well as I can. Or B, I focus on the big picture instead of details and don't look at the small aspects of a job. So between the 2, which one do you think that this best describes you? So either A or B. And I want you to write it down on a piece of paper there. Okay. Please, Jeffrey, and then making sure that 1 say A or 1 B.
Okay, I already written that down.
All right, great. Number 2, if you could hear the thoughts in my head as I'm trading, you'd hear negative thoughts. Or B, if you could hear the thoughts in my head as I'm trading, you'd hear me analyzing the market action.
Okay. Okay, I wrote that down too, answer 2.
Okay, good. Number 3, I would choose a car that is comfortable and quiet, or I would choose a car that is fast and handles well.
Okay, I picked one already.
All right. Number 4, I arrive early for appointments and events to make sure I'm not late. Or B, I often show up late to to appointments and events and not very time oriented.
Got it.
I first feel frustrated and vent my feelings either outwardly or at myself when a problem occurs in my trading. Or B, I first focus on what went wrong and what I can do to fix it when a problem occurs in my trading.
Okay, got it.
Okay. 6. I generally go to my favorite restaurants and order my favorite foods when I go out to eat. Or B, I like to try new and unfamiliar restaurants and foods when I go out to eat.
Okay.
Number 7, I eat healthy foods and get a good amount of exercise and rest. Or B, I'm very busy and don't always eat, exercise, and sleep as I should.
Okay, got it.
Number 8, A, I trade by my gut or intuition. Or B, I trade with my head. Hey, how you doing, Eversley? Welcome.
Figured I'd check you out. It's been a while.
I know, right? And 9, I avoid arguments and conflict. Or B, I like stating and asserting my opinions and hash things out. So, Eversley, what we're doing is basically you're going to choose between these two statements that best describe you or describes you, either A or B. And sorry, Jeffrey, let me just go back here with Eversley. So Eversley, we could have had an opportunity. And then through there, we're gonna go through in terms of 3 different aspects of conditioning, whether if you're conscientious, neurotic, or you are more risk averse or a risk taker. So the first one here, I want you to choose between A or B. I tend to be meticulous and get each aspect of a job done as well as I can. Or B, I focus on the big picture instead of details and don't look at the small aspects of a job. And then number 2, if you could hear the thoughts in my head as I'm trading, you'd hear negative thoughts. Or B, if you could hear the thoughts in my head as I'm trading, you'd hear me analyzing the market action. And number 3, I would choose a car that is comfortable and quiet, or I would choose a car that is fast and handles well. All right, let me know, Eversley, if you've finished choosing one of each.
Is there a thing to type into?
Basically, if you have a piece of paper, and then you
Okay.
just, yeah, either then just do 1, 2, or 3, and then A, B, or whatever you can choose from there.
I'm done.
Okay. Number 4, I arrive early for appointments, events to make sure I'm not late. Or B, I often show up late to appointments and events and not very time oriented. Number 5, I first feel frustrated and vent my feelings either outwardly or at myself when a problem occurs in my trading. Or B, I first focus on what went wrong and what I can do to fix it when a problem occurs in my trading. And 6, I generally go to my favorite restaurants and order my favorite foods when I go out to eat. Or B, I like to try new and unfamiliar restaurants and foods when I go out to eat. Okay, are you finished there, Eversley?
Yep.
Cool. All right, number 7. A, I eat healthy foods and get a good amount of exercise and rest. Or B, I'm very busy and don't always eat, exercise, and sleep as I should. Eight, I trade by my gut or intuition. Or B, I trade with my head. So either you're a discretionary type of trader or you trade using a systemized logic type of trading system. Number 9, I avoid arguments and conflict. Or B, I like stating and asserting my opinions and hash things out.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
The Jeffrey who I know, the same Jeffrey who I know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, Eversley, how you doing?
Real good, and you? It's been a while.
Yeah, I'm still working on my psychology.
Okay, that's the biggest. That is the absolute biggest thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Jeffrey was doing options with me.
Nice, nice. All right, number 10. A, I would be good at following an exercise or diet program, or B, I would sometimes cheat on an exercise or diet program. 11, A, it is hard for me to handle setbacks in the market, or B, I take market setbacks as a cost of doing business. A, I like vacations that are peaceful and relaxing, or B, I like vacations where you see and do a lot of different things. Last one, 13, A, I get routine maintenance done on my car when it is scheduled, or B, I don't follow scheduled routine maintenance on my car. 14A, when I start winning, I feel on top of the world in the market. And when I lose, I'm down on myself. Or B, I don't have many emotional ups or downs in the market. 15A, I would like a job with a stable company that pays a guaranteed salary and benefits, even if I might not get rich. Or B, I would like a job with a startup company that offers me a chance to get rich, even if I might get laid off if things don't work out.
Okay.
Okay. Eversley, you're finished?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to go through first about conscientiousness. So I want you to look at items 1, 4, 7, 10, and 13. So I want to go through in turn. You have 15 different statements there that you chose, either A or B. So I want you to look at 1, 4, 7, 10, and 13. So see how many A's and how many B's did you have. So if you scored mostly A's in terms of responses for these items, you are highly conscientious. So Jeffrey, how many A's or B's did you have?
I have four, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 A's and 1 B.
Okay, and Eversley, how many A's or B's did you have?
It's 1, 4, 7, 10, 13.
1, 4, 7, 10, and 13, yes.
I have 3 A's and 2 B's.
Got it. All right, so a conscientious person is someone who has a high degree of self-control and perseverance. Conscientious traders are good rule followers, and they often do well trading mechanical systems. So traders who are low in conscientiousness will have difficulty following explicit rules and often trade more discretionarily. If you are more conscientious, you want a trading style that is more structured and detail-oriented. So a trader who is low in conscientiousness will get frustrated when he tries to trade in a highly structured manner. Such a trader would do better with big picture trades that do not require detailed rules and analysis. Similarly, very active trading with strict risk management will come easier to the conscientious trader. Less frequent trades with wider risk parameters will come easier to the trader lower in conscientiousness. So I'll say that again. Less frequent trades with wider risk parameters will come easier to the trader lower in conscientiousness. All right, so there's a difference between that. You have someone who is highly conscientious and lowly conscientious, but if you're in between, then you're between both. So in terms of trading systems, that's why not all trading systems are created equal. And I believe this is a tough one, especially for someone who is new to the trading arena and people who just want to think about trading systems, but they don't realize that the personality type has to be in synchronicity with the trading system that or methodology that they're using. So if a person is lowly conscientious, he or she will have a lot of problem following a trading system that is basically rule-based. Why? Because he has no self-control. So he'll do things more discretionally, and he will disobey the rules of the trading methodology or trading system. But if someone who has a high degree of self-consciousness or conscientiousness, then the person will be a good rule follower, and that will be good for the trading system that will follow certain rules. All right, so number 2, the second one we're going to discuss, or any questions, by the way, in terms of conscientiousness?
I'm good.
But what
Nothing.
does the 3 A's mean more than the 2 B's?
So that means that you are both, you have a conscientious where you are very responsible because you have 3 A's, and then the 2 B's, you're basically a balanced type of person in terms of someone who will use a logical type of system and also will use an intuitive type of trading. So between the two. And sometimes I do the same. I will follow the logic or in terms of the analysis, then, but sometimes I will follow as well within my gut. So you have those two there. I hope that makes sense there, Eversley.
Okay.
Okay. So sometimes you're discretionary type of trader, but you're more type of person who will follow your set of rules on the system. And then at the same time, if you're not aware of your thoughts, then you will be more discretionary type of trader based on your profile. Yeah. Okay. Number 2 is about neuroticism. Now I want you to look at items number 2, 5, 8, 11, and 14. 2, 5, 8, 11, and 14. So when you're finished, let me know.
Okay.
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 You got it? Okay, cool. How many A's or B's you got there, Jeffrey?
2, 5, 8, 11, and 14.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
You have three A's and 2 B's?
Yeah. Yes, 3 A's and 2 B's.
Got it. And Eversley, how many A's and B's you have?
The last one was 14, right?
Correct. So 2, 5, 8, 11, 14. Yes.
I have all B's.
All B's. Okay, great. All right. So if you scored mostly A responses for these items, you're relatively high in neuroticism. So your neuroticism is simply the tendency to experience negative emotions. The trader prone to neuroticism tends to experience more emotional interference in his or her trading. Wins can create overconfidence or euphoria. Losses can create fear, self-doubt, and hesitation. The trader who is low in neuroticism is more likely to react to trading problems with efforts of problem solving and analysis. He or she will not take wins or losses particularly personally. A person who is high in neuroticism is emotionally sensitive and can be used, this sensitivity, to obtain a gut feel for market action. On the other hand, a trader who is low in neuroticism may also experience a little emotional disruption with trading. So the danger is that he may be closed off to subtle intuitive cues when a trade goes sour. So Dr. Steenberger, maybe you've heard of him. He used to be actually, I mean, he's still a trader up to now, but he got his PhD as well, and his residency basically in psychology. Used to trade on CME, but I never met him, unfortunately, when I was visiting the floor. So, but nevertheless, there's another book that he created or he wrote, Trading for a Living, I think it is, by Dr. Steenberger. So he stated that he is always surprised at how successful gut traders are often relatively neurotic traders. Very active trading methods are particularly challenging for such traders, as it don't allow much time for regaining emotional equilibrium after losses. So this can lead to cascades of losses and significant drawdowns of equity. It is much easier for the non-neurotic trader to turn losses around, since these are less likely to be tied to self-esteem. So you can see that neuroticism is based on the emotional component. So either you are emotionally, that you can control your own set of emotions. In terms of fear, there's because 3 emotions, right? In terms of trading, you have fear, greed, and regret. So if you're fearful, then you have based on self-doubt and lack of self-confidence through there. And if you're not aware and you're closing your positions way too fast and the market kept going, then the regret basically happens. The shoulds, the coulds, the woulds. If only I stayed a little bit longer, then I would have made more money. Or if only I stopped or I closed off my positions earlier, then I wouldn't have a bigger loss. On the other hand, someone who is lowly neurotic, who is someone who is more aware of their emotions, they're not really affected by it. Losses is part of the game and they're being honest by it. That's why if you put a stop loss and you're saying to yourself, okay, I'm okay to lose $100, $1,000, $10,000 or whatever it is, and you're okay with that, then you can move on. But someone who is lowly neurotic is someone who cannot really fully, not being honest within their own answers within themselves, because number one, maybe is the lack of awareness that they're doing it. So that's the difference between someone who's highly neurotic and someone who is lowly neurotic. Does it make sense? So any questions based on neuroticism? So does that also make sense when you're trading for these past few weeks or in the past? Then you also do understand in terms of the way how you deal things with your trading. So any questions, Jeffrey, Eversley?
Just a comment, it's funny. You link the neuroticism with the trading aspect, and normally neuroticism is like it's more like a I guess it's like a not a like a virtue, like it's normally thought of as something not good versus like it's almost like thought of as a vice versus like a virtue. So, but I think in trading is not really look at it that way. It's more look at it as like a property of a trader, like like I guess it's your character, like not a character, but like the way you trade and the way you think of things when you trade. So
correct. Nice. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thanks for further comments. How about you, Eversley? Any comments, questions?
Nope, just listening in and taking in some knowledge.
Nice. All right. So
But
far,
actually, but it literally describes some of the stuff I did this morning, just in the last few minutes as you were talking about the first part, the conscientiousness part, and that first part, I was literally describing me being technical in the analysis, but then also a little bit of subjectivity.
yes,
that comes with experience too. So
exactly.
so you can be both at the same time.
Correct. Very nice. Yes, exactly. No, you're absolutely right. Because of the experience comes with it, right? All right. Next one is about risk. Okay, so you now want you to look at the last items, 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. 3, 6, 9, 12, and 15. Okay, so Jeffrey, how many A's did you get there, Jeffrey?
12 and 15. Okay, so
Yeah.
1, 2, oh no, 1, 2 A's.
2 A's, okay.
Yeah.
And 2 A's, 3 B's. And how about yourself, Eversley?
Was it 3, 6, 9, 15?
3, 6, 9, 12, and 15.
4 A's, 1 B.
4 A's, 1 D would be 1 B. Okay, so if you scored mostly A responses for these items, you're relatively a risk-averse trader. So for you, Eversley, you're more risk-averse. And then for yourself, Jeffrey, you said you have 2 A's and 3 B's, so you're risk tolerant. So you're in between. So a risk-averse trader is one who cannot tolerate the possibility of large losses and who would and one who cannot tolerate the possibility of large losses and who would prefer smaller, more frequent wins with controlled losses to larger wins with greater drawdowns. So does that describe you there, Eversley?
Perfectly.
Perfect. And then trading with careful stops and money management, and trading smaller time frames where risk can be controlled with the holding period will come most naturally for the risk-averse trader. The risk-seeking trader is one who enjoys stimulation and challenge, and that is me. I'm more of a risk seeker. Larger positions and longer holding periods are easier to tolerate for the risk-seeking trader. Very often, the risk-seeking trader will be impulsive in entering trades and will have difficulty trading during periods of low volatility or when he is bored. The risk-averse trader often experiences difficulty hanging into winning trades and will cut profits short to avoid reversals. This trader will be challenged during periods of high market volatility. Position sizing is key and often overlooked as a trading variable. Trading too small will bore the risk-seeking trader, who will then lose focus. Trading too large will also overwhelm the risk-averse trader, who will also then lose focus. So if I will put in basically a chart right here just to demonstrate, there's two components, right? In terms of a chart, you have price, which is your x-axis, and then you have time, which is your y-axis. So in terms of time, which is connected with the time frame, from a monthly, weekly, daily, 4-hourly, even a yearly, all the way down to as low as a tick, 1 second, or a tick time frame. Then there's other part right here, and let me put in basically a fermentation tool point of view. So you have time through here, and then you have price, but there is a third element, which is distance. So you have price, you have time, and then the last one is simply here, which is D for distance or displacement over time. That becomes also power, right? So displacement or distance over time. That's why each and every candle that you can calculate its force, you can calculate its momentum, you can calculate things objectively based on price. And this distance is simply related to your risk. So right there. The longer the distance, the bigger the risk. The shorter the distance, the smaller the risk. So the lesser the risk, longer time frame that you are dealing with, the greater basically the risk. That's why someone who is more risk averse will deal with shorter term time frame compared to someone who is a risk seeker. Then they will deal more with longer time frame because they're looking, it's a high reward. You know, you have high risk, it is very relative to high reward. Low risk, which makes sense, equates to low reward. But if you want to take high risk, then you need to be a person who is also you need to be a high risk taker in order to do so. However, a question that always basically asked would be, can someone who is risk averse or risk tolerant would be able to deal with higher timeframes? The answer is yes. And the key is the amount of position size that you are willing to put in. So someone who is risk averse will put in smaller position size, smaller size to deal with bigger time frames. So this is basically someone who is risk averse to risk tolerant. But someone who is risk a risk taker will have a bigger position. That equates to bigger time frames. Okay. And hence, once again, and this is also a big problem after how many years, actually 19 years of teaching, 20, well, this is my 27th year of trading, is simply when someone who's new to the trading game and they look from a marketing perspective, oh, he's making X amount of money, this, oops. Oh man, that one disappeared. Hello. My screen just went blank. Uh-oh. You don't see the screen anymore, right? Just double check.
I still see your screenshot.
Oh, okay.
Seeing the chart.
Yeah.
You can see the chart. Okay, great.
Yeah.
I basically, for me, I just lost power through there. Oh, okay. No, I got it. Never mind. The power just went off. It's okay. Is simply people who wants to learn how to trade, but they don't know their personality profile, and sometimes they're using the incorrect trading system or the methodology that is not in synchronicity with their trading style or their personality style. So as someone who, if they don't know in terms of their risk profile, and then they're using, say, a swing trading type of environment or a bigger time frame, they won't be able to hack it, because if the certain rules are being given to them and they cannot follow certain rules and they are highly neurotic and with bigger time frame, they won't succeed because of the personality profile is not suited for the trading system that they're using. However, if a good trading system or methodology will use multiple time frame analysis, because price is price, right? A chart is a chart. The only difference when you're looking at different things is simply the time frame of where it's being hit. So if the system will work in any time frame, then the person would be able to choose whatever time frame or whatever trading style that he would use based on his personality profile. In my opinion, I think this is also a big issue with sometimes how to trade, is that, in my opinion, the first thing that a trader should do first is to create or to know the personality profile. And if they know their personality profile, then it'll be easier in terms of what trading system that they'll be using, in which time frame they'll be using. And so hence, a day trader at the very beginning cannot be a swing trader or a trend follower. Why? Because they won't be able to handle the amount of days through waiting. So in other words, what I'm trying to say here is that, let's talk about, when you're talking about virtues here, Jeffrey, so values are simply things that are important to you. And trading patience is one of the biggest value that you will ever need when it comes to trading. Why? Because as long as you and I are retail traders and we cannot control the markets, meaning we cannot dictate price, we don't have enough money in order to do that, in order to manipulate or in order to move the price of whatever you'll be trading. It doesn't matter, we'll be trading Forex all the way to stocks, to indices or futures for that matter. Only institution will be able to do that. When the market maker basically creates that price, the institution is the only one who would be able to buy or sell from the opening or from the low or the high. Other than that, for us, we just have to be very objective of following where the money trail is basically going. But if we are being impatient, then we cannot handle bigger time frames. So if you're impatient, you cannot handle bigger time frame. You can only handle smaller time frame. Why? Because you can only take control within the smaller time frame. And hence day trading, momentum trading, scalping will be good for someone who is impatient. Now, if a person is controlling, he or she cannot go through a bigger time frame as well. Why? Because if the person is too controlling and they want to control everything, the only thing that can control is their own time. meaning this 1 minute, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. So if they are impatient and controlling, they have to be day traders. They cannot go from a swing trading environment. And if they go to a swing trading environment, they won't be able to sleep at night. Why? Because they're now thinking of what the future holds. What if I lose? And then anxiety basically hits, or impulsion or impulsiveness will be created. Now, if they're trading futures or they're trading Forex, they will close a position earlier than anything, and they won't follow the trading system or where the target point is going to be. Why? Because of the anxiety. And they're not, without, mind you, these are the things where when the person is not aware of it, right? So self-awareness plays a very big role. So if you're a type of person who can control your emotion, you're lowly conscientious, then, and you're basically patient, you have certain values, the discipline, focus, the patience, then you will be able to handle bigger time frame. And so hence, as part to conclude it, as part of the three-dimensional conscientiousness, neuroticism, and risk, a good one is simply someone who is highly conscientious, risk tolerant, and lowly conscientious. If you have the three type of personality type, then you'll be a type of person who is going to be really good in terms of medium to longer term time frame. And someone who would be able to handle lower time frames. Yes, the idea of a good trader would be someone who can adapt to any time frame, that when opportunities are there, he or she would be able to trade in any time frame, no matter what. So if there is, say, for example, an up and coming news at, say, a particular time, someone who is lowly neurotic would be able to trade news, would be able to control basically the speed. So depending on which one you're trading, say you're trading the ES or you're trading the Dow, and the Dow is more faster than the ES, then you will be able to handle speed, someone who's lowly neurotic. But if someone who is highly neurotic, they won't be able to handle speed. They will basically either close the position very, very quickly, or they will basically close the positions at a loss rather than waiting. And then if the direction is still very bullish, because of the reaction, they're taking people down and basically went up. And that's where the person who's highly neurotic won't be able to handle that. And then it will lead to revenge trading. Someone who is risk tolerant will be able to handle in terms of the amount of risk, but not overly risking way too much, not risking way too little either. So someone here is basically in between. So in other words, they would be able to risk, say, rather than losing $1,000, they can lose, say, $500, right? So, but someone who is a risk taker is someone who's willing to lose $1,000 and lose 10% of the account if the account is $10,000, for example. So that's why those three combinations are very important. And if you would be able to know that, if you've been successful in your trading based on your personality profile in terms of what you've done today, then maybe perhaps whatever system you're using is in synchronicity with your profile. But basically, if you are not as experienced and you have more inconsistencies, then maybe perhaps you need to change the system that you're basically using based on the personality profile that you currently have at this point in time. But can you change your inner belief systems in terms of your profile, especially neuroticism? Absolutely. The only time when that happens, when the awareness basically kicks in. And if you're aware more of your thoughts, you're aware more, especially the negative thoughts, then you would be able to use the system that is not meant to be suitable for you. However, at the very beginning, on the other hand, that if it's not suitable for you, change the methodology, or not change the methodology, but change the time frame of basically what you're using. How would that make sense there, Jeffrey and Eversley? So now that you know, is it more in sync in terms of the system that you're using? I'll start from you, Eversley. Is it pretty much accurate in terms of where you're at there in terms of your personality profile, Eversley?
For the most part, I prefer shorter to medium term trades. I prefer smaller risk, and then once my first target's achieved, just manage the position for bigger profits, but I like to lock in my profits fairly quickly. I don't really do longer term trades that take months and stuff like that.
So in actual fact, actually makes sense because you're medium, like you're in between. You're you're lowly neurotic than highly neurotic because you have more 3As than B. You're risk averse and you are lowly neurotic, right? So hence, that's why in terms of what you described there, exactly is what you are in terms of what you're using, in terms of the way how you trade management, and as part of your system that you're basically using. So it is pretty much accurate. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
If there's one thing that you can change, that you want to change, what would it be, Eversley?
Let's see, what would I change? Let's see, as far as personality or my approach to trading, in what
Both.
aspect?
Both. That if you can maintain, well, if you definitely, the consistency is not a problem for you, but if you can improve, well, in terms of your trading, what would it be? Using both personality style and system wise.
Being more consistent with how I trail stops as far as percentages of profits. I do not like to document things. I do not like to write things down. I do not put stuff into a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
I literally, I find that like punishment. Okay. So
Okay.
I might teach people to trail a 20% or 50%, that type of trailing stop, and they'll document that in a spreadsheet. But for my personality, I can't be that specific.
Mm-hmm.
I have to be, okay, I got my first target hit. I'm going to put my stop right here. Okay, good. It moved a little bit more. I'm going to move my stop up a little bit. I might trail my stop a little bit tighter if I have more bills to pay this month.
Yes.
So if I had to train to one thing, I'd be a little more disciplined with my exactness and documenting my positions, and being more consistent with what percentage of profits I trail stops on,
Yes. It's so interesting you say that, because in terms of your conscientiousness, notice how your 3As and 2Bs. So the 2Bs is showing in terms of you don't like to document things, you don't like to put things in Excel spreadsheet. That's your 2Bs. And then your 3As are the ones, great, you have your stop losses in place, you put everything, right? So you're using both your logical and the illogical, the subconscious and the conscious mind, the right side and the left side of the brain. So because for me, I almost have the same personality type as you in terms of conscientiousness. I'm not consistent in terms of writing my stuff down in my journal. I stopped doing it for some reason. But what pushes me is that every Friday that we have the group coaching session, that's what pushes me to do it. But if I'm not doing those classes, I won't be doing it either. I used to at the very beginning for the first 5 to 10 years of trading, but after 10 years, I stopped doing it because it's almost like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, luckily I work with Becky, and Jeffrey knows Becky also.
I see.
and she handles the documentation of all the trades and stuff that I don't do. I handle all the analysis, and she handles the documentation. So we work together really well like that.
Awesome. Awesome. Very nice. Great. So at least now you know which one's which, right? Like, and I think it's just mainly like we all need to improve certain things, so which is cool. How about yourself, Jeffrey? Does the profile almost state exactly of who you are at this point in time in terms of your trading?
Well, right now I'm not like I'm not very active in trading. like I mentioned to you before. I'm like working on the basically like on my psychology, and like one of the things I find out is one is the I'm trying to do is to accept things as they are, not to get frustrated or get angry. Like whereas before I would, certain things happen to me and I'll get angry, especially like if I'm sometimes when I talk to my mom, I get angry at her, and I'm finding out that like I had expectations of her. You know, it's almost like it doesn't have any. I mean, you could say it doesn't have anything to do with trading, but I feel that like trading is, I have to get like pretty much I have to get certain things in my relationship worked out before, you know, I could, you know, trade successfully. So right now I'm just working at those things like I remember when I first traded, when the first trade I put on, my heart would beat like a jackrabbit. And I didn't know what was going on. That was, and then it really took me a long while to get over it. I get over that, and I kept, and then I got into the, you know, to the psychology of trading, and basically got into the self-help field, you know, and start reading books about that.
Awesome.
So this is like where I'm at, you know.
Exactly.
So I mean, so this is once I get rid of the bugs in my mind, you know. That's what the bugs in my mind, then I'm ready to go forward, you know. But without getting rid of it, then I'm always, you know, I feel like I'm always going to get you know, my ego going to be controlling my mind, and I'm going to have all these things in my mind that's going to cause chaos in my life.
Nice.
You know,
So
it's
you
interesting
said that
as
there are
Jeffrey's talking about that. One of the women I work with, she shared with me that in the past, people have done her wrong, right? With relationships and business, people have done her wrong. And she takes those same emotions and thought processes and puts them onto the market. And she's actually treating the market like it was people who have done her wrong. And can she trust the market the same way she thought she had trusted the people and they did her wrong? And she's actually treating the market the exact same way as relationships in the past that have done her wrong. So it's kind of interesting how people can do that. And I'm like, I'm not even sure how to even, you know, deal with that.
You know, Eversley, I find it's very common, you know, just it's I mean, for me, after reading the book, and I start being more aware of like when I'm talking to people, and there's a lot of expectations and stories in their head about other people.
Great. It's so interesting. You guys are you're saying that because just in terms of me sharing, we're always going to be in a relationship, no matter what. But the question is, what is a relationship? A relationship basically takes two to tango. So when you're trading the markets, you are in relationship with the markets without us even knowing. However, since a person doesn't know that it's in a relationship with the markets, and this is where, as a way, cheating actually happens, or when I say cheating, When a person is bored within the relationship, they will need other ways to have the variety because they need that. Men especially, because we need that variety. Women, on the other hand, always seeks certainty. They will always seek the certainty in the relationship. They will seek certainty in terms of finances. They will seek certainty that they're going to win. Men, on the other hand, yes, we seek certainty in the markets, but in most cases, we're seeking the variety or the challenge. It wants to be challenged. We always want to be acknowledged. On the other hand, our expectations, that's why you said it that very well. If you were born and you were growing up with already a lot of expectations from either your parents or your grandparents, where their parents also, your parents got that from their parents and their parents. So it's gone through generation after generation. And that within that expectation leads to amount of pressure. And in most cases, we want to win. So why are we trading? Either number one, we trade to make money, or number two, people will trade to get the variety or the challenge that they're seeking, that they're not getting from within them. And hence, that's why in terms of relationships, sometimes people will cheat. Cheating could be manifested in different ways. Cheating, going through another person, cheating through alcohol, cheating through drugs, or cheating through gambling. And if they're trading and they're not utilizing some form of a system, or they don't think it as a business, then they will just simply gamble. Why? Because it gives them that kick in terms of that, what's ever missing in their life. However, when that happens in terms of when they're trading, but they're also expecting to win. And if they're not winning, now the expectation that is now connected into that simply is a connectivity of what they see fit of who they are as an individual. That if they're not winning, they see themselves either as a loser or they're not worthy. So those are the two major things. And if they're not loving themselves because they don't trust themselves, they're not confident, low self-esteem. And part of that, it becomes simply in a emotional profile. Or when it comes to that negative, then it leads to simply depression. And if they won't be able to handle that, it would go from one after the other, And they said, oh, dang it, why did I do that? Gosh. And then just imagine the amount of affirmation. Fucking idiot, I can't believe you pressed the trigger. Why did you get into that trade? Why didn't you put your stop loss? Geez, you're such a loser. And imagine it keeps going inside on a subconscious level without even them knowing. Now they're defining that as in terms of a belief of who they are as an individual. Remember, we're always going to be in a relationship with the markets, but the markets doesn't know that they're in relationship with you. And hence the markets will always keep moving with or without you. That's why when you're very subjective and the subjectivity comes in and you're still thinking, and you want the way how you want it based on your own expectation, then you're going to keep losing. Why? Because the market doesn't care. It's like having a relationship that doesn't want to be with you, but you want to be with them. So if you keep chasing this girl over and over, but the girl doesn't want to be with you, the girl in actual fact will find you repulsive and rather than not being attracted to you because you're just being needy. But if you get that and you accept it and not associating with it and you're not attached, through acceptance is through detaching things. When you detach with something, then you no longer are expecting. And that's why people, I love competing. People will say, you're crazy. Why are you still competing? I said, well, competing for me means a lot because of the process from A to B. And if I lose, yes, losing is just basically part of the game. But if you think that losing is part of the game, then it alleviates the pressure of making money and alleviates the pressure of winning. Why? Because losing is part of the game. So if you accept that losing is part of the game, then you're now being detached within that relationship that you will have within the markets. Why? Because it's firstly important to have a relationship with yourself. If you have a good relationship with yourself and you see that you love yourself, you see that you are trusting yourself, you're trustworthy, you see that you are confident, then this will translate outwardly from the inside to the outside, because you're now accepting yourself. Then when you do accept yourself, then you have no expectations on what others think of you, or the amount of pressure that you'll be dealing when it comes to trading. And you're now detached to other people, especially when you think that losing is part of the game. Either you win or you learn, in my opinion. There is nothing in terms of losing. And people who are perfect in terms of perfectionism, in my opinion, there's no such thing as perfectionism, because we are humans and we will always have human emotion. And if you can accept that you're a human and you have emotions, and that it's okay, and that's where the word forgive as well has to happen. You need to forgive yourself first, because you just didn't know what you didn't know. But these are the conditioning that already has been established since birth, either through your parents and your parents through their parents, based on your forefathers, and then from a generation to a generation. That's why culture plays a very big role. And depending on the correct from aspects of conditioning, that creates a belief system, either that limits you, a limiting, or a supporting belief. So yeah, based on what you see, hear, and feel, that creates the aspect of condition that will create a belief system. And hence, if a person is not very aware, and hence that's why the topic for today in terms of the personality profile. And if you're not aware of that, because there's always going to be three aspects of conditioning when we're trading, right? There's, in my opinion, it's a pyramid, like a pyramid, either way. So the mental game plays a very big role in trading, and the mental game, in my opinion, is around 98%, if not 100%, because it controls everything. And then you have your physical conditioning, which plays 1%, and then you have your technical. Technical analysis is easy. Trading system is easy. What is really challenging is the 6 inches between our ears, based on the belief system that we do have, our personality that creates our persona, our mask, they are all based on our beliefs that we have established based on a conditioning within the family, within the culture, or within the mold, or we've molded people. And it's not just with family, but also with friends, social media, everything, right? So all these things. And then you're translated to trading. In the end, who are really competing against? We're not competing against other people like you and me. We're only competing against ourselves. And then the end result is simply a reflection of who we are as an individual. And that is my opinion about trading. So this applies actually with everything. It's not just with trading. Relationships, when you talk about relationships, relationship with trading, relationship with a loved one, relationship with parents, friends, relationship with oneself, because it takes two to tango. So if you could do that, and you can get rid, then you will be able to get rid of expectations. When there's no expectations, no pressure. And then when you no longer having that expectation of what other people think about you, what the market thinks about you, then you're now being detached. And when you're detached, then you're now pure objective. Pure objectivity simply means that you're just looking the way things they are, with no judgment, no criticism. And if you will be able to do that, same thing with other people. You cannot judge people. You're not going to criticize people. Things are just the way they are, like the way how you see a plant, a tree. A tree is a tree, a plant is a plant. If you see a person the way they are, doesn't matter what color, race, then that's who they are, and you accept them, then it is what it is. Likewise for trading. If you see fit that it's time to buy and time to buy because the market says so, then time to buy. If it's time to sell, time to sell. But it's always going to be that inner thing, that monkey mind will come into place, right? I'm not too sure now about it. Once uncertainty hit because of fear, then you're screwed. So yeah, that's the bottom line. Any questions there, Jeffrey? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what you said about loving yourself, I try to remind myself to do that every day.
But it's true though, right? You know, and you said it earlier, when you wake up and you're just grateful that you're alive, that you can eat, you can walk. Yeah, same thing. And you just have to love it, like, you know, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Likewise in trading, you don't know what will happen tomorrow, and that's the thing. If we just could know, and if you can see like the past, everybody will be basically millionaires, will be billionaires. That's the beauty about trading, is because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But where does everything happen? Right now. And hence, this is why money management is so important. That for me, I have a rule. It's an 80-20 rule. If price is, say, at supply for me, I will take 80% out. I will leave 20%. I will trail that stop above break even. It's a zero risk free trade. And if you can go beyond that, then it's just simply an icing on the cake. That's my rule. But everybody has certain rules, because I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. As far as I'm concerned, it can happen like this. See, I've done a lot for me over and over again. Like, oh yeah, it's going to keep going. I'm not no longer being objective. And then the next day basically drops. What happens then? The emotion of regret happens. The shirt goes, freaking hell, I can't believe I didn't take it. And now I have to wait until it goes back again. So I've missed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trading days, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I missed 5 trading days of it coming back down to short. And now I have to wait another 5 days to get back up to where it started. And then that's already 10 trading days. And you have 10 trading days of waiting. So that patience has to be done. But if not, if you can take some of your profits there and then, and you trail, then so what? Then you go to the downside, and you're just playing the game. And sometimes we tend to forget that by playing the game of trading. It's just a game. But in most cases, we're no longer playing the game of trading. We're playing our own internal game of fear, internal game of regret, internal game of anxiety, mainly the ego. We're playing our own game of ego. But if you take that ego away, you see things the way they are, then you're now within the zone. So that's where the game basically feels really, really good, when you're in that zone. All right, so that's basically the lesson for today. So Eversley, any other comments, anything you want to share?
I think a while back, Jeffrey told me he was a martial artist. Maybe he should come train with us. That will help his confidence and his psychological part of his trading.
Absolutely, Jeffrey.
I haven't forgotten.
Oh, Eversley, when you said that, I actually am afraid. I'm scared of that now. Because it's like, because you got to take the fall, because it's like, I'm just scared now.
We have a lot of people coming in, some people who are a little bit older that haven't trained in a while. So it's actually a nice mix of people.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Don't worry, Jeffrey. Eversley and I will look after you.
You may want to come in and just watch a class one day. You get the info from Ronaldo, or email me. But it's good to just come in and see what other people are doing, even just training. You might be like, wow, this is kind of interesting,
Yeah, I totally agree.
All right.
We'll be there probably training Saturday afternoon, most likely this weekend.
Yes.
And also this evening also.
Exactly.
All
That
right,
will be
all
fun.
right, all right. So you don't mind me emailing you directly and ask you about when you got a schedule, like in like probably like after this month, September.
Yeah,
you
just
know, like-
email and yeah, we'll just come on in, check it out, and next
All
thing
right.
you know, you're choking one dude out, and you go home feeling confident. I'm ready to trade now.
Exactly. Exactly.
It might sound funny, however, one part of your
Exactly.
reality influences the other part of your reality. It comes down to a confidence thing too.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, because you're when you're physically, you improve yourself physically, uh it's like it affects other aspects. So your biology, uh physiology, and your mindset, they all affect each other. It's like you improve one thing and it affects the other one.
Yep.
Exactly. Exactly. Very nice. Well, thanks a lot, guys, for coming in today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And yeah, till next time, I'll see you guys pretty soon.
All
All right, thanks.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.